Hi, I'm John. This is my show, An American Scheme, where I'm proving that Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's actual mother. So, I've had just really bad encounters with the Michael Jackson community, so my experience is just overwhelmingly negative experience. I get maybe like once a week somebody comes by my page and tells me that they've watched my videos and how impressed they are and how I've really showed them just quality information, and now how I've opened their eyes and they're seeing all of it. Because sometimes it's like people, they've had these other thoughts in their heads that something else is going on, but nobody's ever really done the investigation. Nobody really looked into it to explain everything. So there's people that I help where they've known there's something going on, and then so they see my work, and then it just opens everything up for them. Then there's other people that just never saw any of it, and then they come by and see my work, and now it's like, oh my God, I show so much to them, and they see now that my story's true, and they see things in so much a better way. So that's like once a week. I get those kind of people come around maybe like once a week and tell me about they've watched some of my work and what it's done for them and stuff, right? But usually what I get is just overwhelmingly negative experience, and I try to have conversations. They will not even have a conversation, and it's like I just ask like all the people in the Michael Jackson community. It's like, okay, well, just watch one of my videos and give me your opinion. That's all I want them to do. I want them, because these people always think that they know what's going on and stuff. And so with me though, it's one of those things that it's like they can sense that something's different about me, and they don't like that I'm telling this completely different story. And so they don't want to take a chance that my story could be right, because they can't deal with it. And it's like, because I say they're not real Michael Jackson fans, they're more like Michael Jackson thieves. So they can't deal with my story. They don't want to deal with the reality that they've been fooled their whole life, so they absolutely will not even look at my work. Like somebody like Michael Jackson, it's like he acts like he's all tough guy, right? He's all, you don't want that smoke, he acts all gangster. I'm from Philadelphia, and I'm from Philly, and all that shit. He acts all tough, right? Like even in one of his he's got that stupid page, the Cool Kano. I mean, what a loser. I can't even, I'm not going to knock it too much, because it's like I don't want to get in trouble to tell you my real opinions about what I see there, what he's doing and stuff. But one of the things he said was he hates beta men. He's alpha, because he's claiming that he's an alpha man, right? And he hates beta men. And it's like, dude, okay, if you're so alpha, come watch one of my videos and give me your alpha opinion. He can't do it. Okay, so in the Michael Jackson community, I'm struggling, and it's like I've hit a wall. I barely can even watch. This video right here is by The Detail, and it was a Michael and Janet one. And so I was like, well, I wanted to watch it and pick it apart, but I turned it on, I watched it for less than a minute, and it just instantly was just like, ugh, it bugs the hell out of me. So I'm just going to show you right here in the beginning, the first little part, something that it said really quick here, and I'm going to show you a couple of pieces of information and stuff, right? But so I'm struggling to be able to even watch any Michael Jackson stuff, to do any further investigations, because part of my thing is like, well, I have so many videos already. It's like, what's the purpose of me keep making videos and stuff, right? And so like these videos, okay, my page is monetized, which I just want to get the first check. I want to see if it says my real name, because I'm not sure how it's going to come out. Is it going to say my name, or is it going to say An American Scheme? And it's like, well, I kind of would like to get a check from YouTube that says pay to An American Scheme. I think that'd be cool. I wouldn't cash the check. I just want to kind of get the first one, and then I think I'm going to demonetize my page. I don't want my page to be monetized, because any of my videos, like commercials, when I watch people's videos with the commercials, oh, it bugs me. I really hate that. So I don't like that my videos, that there's some commercials on some of my videos and stuff. I wouldn't like that. But all my videos, I don't monetize any of these new ones. I don't even bother with it anymore. Since the first time I monetized my page, and half of the videos I couldn't monetize anyways, And the only reason I monetized it because YouTube sent a letter saying that we're going to monetize your page. If we want to do it, you don't have a choice. We'll monetize it on our own. So when they did that, then I was like, okay, let me monetize my page. But I don't really care about that. And it's like one of those things, if my story blows up, I'm going to get a lot of attention. So I know that YouTube's just going to monetize my page on their own anyways. It's like just one of those weird, it's like the catch-22 thing. It's just weird, right? So I'm just trying to express, even in the process of me making these videos, I can't even I can't overstate how much negative experience I'm dealing with with the Michael Jackson community, And then, so then in my real life, I take care of my dad's got Alzheimer's. So my dad is like in severe stages, the late stages of Alzheimer's. And it's incredibly difficult, and so people want me to make these videos. Like just the other day, somebody that comes around, and it's hard for me to keep track. Like I said, my mind, the things I'm dealing with in my mind, it's to a point where I'm getting confused. It's starting to cause problems, and I'm dealing, because you got the stuff that's going on in the world with all these things and all these issues and things I try and keep up on, and then I'm dealing with my Michael Jackson story. Then I started collecting sports cards, because I'm not gambling right now, because like I said, like basketball season, I've been gambling for over 20 years, okay? So basketball was always my favorite sport to bet on, and the reason is you're dealing with, on a team, a basketball team, you got a five-man starting rotation, and then you got maybe 5 other bench players, right? So you're maybe got 10 guys that you got to know, okay? And then the basketball games are going every day, but each team doesn't play every day. A team plays maybe 3 times a week, 4 times a week, something like that, right? So it's a better, the pacing of it. Then you'll have a few big days, like Wednesdays usually, like when I say a full board. So when I go to bet on games, some days you might go to bet the games, there might be 4 games or 5 games. So you got like slim pickings. You don't have a lot of games to choose from, because I don't bet on every game, because some of the games you're dealing with a really good team against a really bad team, and then they put a point spread on that. It might be a 13-point spread. So like a lot of games are just not even bettable for me. I don't bet every game. It's not like that. So you'll have days, like usually Wednesdays you'll have a full board, usually Friday, and then maybe either Saturday or Sunday, one of those days. And then in the other days you'll get a slower, like usually in the old days it was Thursdays. They had the Thursday TNT games, and you'd have 2 TNT televised games, then maybe there'd be another one. But for years, I would pick those 2 Thursday TNT games for years. I'd pick those games right. I was really I'm good at it. So like basketball, I like the way it's set up. Because baseball, you're dealing with every day, you're dealing with over 10 games, basically. Every day. They play every day. So, and then you're dealing with, they got like 160 game season, so it's a long, if you want to bet on baseball, it's work to watch all those games, to pay attention. So I stopped betting baseball just, years ago, way over 5 years. I haven't even made a bet on baseball, and it's probably been like 10 years. It's been a long time now. I haven't bet baseball, because like once I started taking care of my dad, that was just one of those things, because I've been taking care of my dad. See, this is how things work too. It's like I've been taking care of my dad basically at the same amount of time I've been doing my Michael Jackson story. It's like they kind of coincided with each other. It's like I remember having my Michael Jackson thing. I started to get more advanced in my story, and then that's when my dad, he'd crashed his car into a parked car because his mind was starting to mess with him. And it was the thing with the hospital. The hospital called us, and they basically said, we're not going to release him. We're going to send him into some kind of assisted living facility. This is over 10 years ago. And my dad's like super hyper, and he's got all this energy, and he's not a kind of person that's going to let you tell him what to do. And so this is it's constant resistance. I still deal with it to this day. He's just always, like, all I get from my dad is like I don't get from him, oh, thanks for helping me, or, oh, that was a good meal, thanks for making some food. That doesn't ever happen to me. It's just no, that's what you get. It's constantly resistance. No, don't do that. No, pushing me away, fighting. And that's every day, and every day I gotta take care of him. I gotta clean him. I gotta feed him. I try and give him some companionship. And it's brutal. And then I'm doing all of this stuff for him, and all I get from him is no. And then, so the same thing with the Michael Jackson community. I do all of these things, all these videos, all of the stuff I do, and all I get from them is no. And you're a loser, you're an idiot, you're whatever, right? It's just fucking crazy. And like I say, somebody came on my page the other day, and like I said, I get confused about these people. I don't. It's hard for me to remember now. It's like, are these people like supporting my story, or are they just kind of like investigating? I don't know. It's like, and then they demand that I'm supposed to know who they are, and so it's like, you people don't understand what I'm dealing with. I'm like straight out telling you, my mind's starting to get confused because I'm carrying too much information. I've got too many things to think about, and like these people get mad at me because it's like, shoot, okay, I don't know exactly who you are. I don't remember exactly I don't remember all the conversations I had with you, because it's like I can't put my focus onto that. I got so many other things going on, right? So somebody gave me a comment and said said, what about Michael's vitiligo? And they said, Joe had vitiligo. And it's like, okay, well, did Joe have vitiligo? I don't know. Like, that's one of the things. I don't know. That's, you know, I've looked into certain things, but I don't know exactly. Like, I can't investigate everything, right? It's like, you know, and so it's like, so the person I said to me, I thought I could ask you any questions, and it's like, yeah, you can look at my videos and ask me any questions about like the evidence that I give you. You can judge any of the evidence I give you, and you can judge it, and if you can counter the evidence of which I'm giving you, then go ahead. Say that doesn't, but you have to be talking about my work. If you're not talking about my work, then you're still stuck in the framework of the Jacksons as a product, as a brand, right? So it's like the first thing, it's like everybody is here, and I'm guilty of it too. I know exactly that. It's like I grew up watching the Jacksons, the brand, the Jacksons, right? And you think that they're a family, and that's the heavy branding. We were exposed to it. That's what we're used to. So you got to first understand, it's like, okay, well, you were hit by commercials and advertisements that were intended for a brand. Like, so, like what I'm going to show you right here on the detail, one of the things it says how the people are looking at the similarities between Jacksons. It says something like that, right? And it's like, okay, well, that's what they did with the Jacksons. And so a lot of people don't understand. It's like, okay, when they build up a brand like the Jacksons, right? Okay, there's all kinds, okay, the Jacksons make the music, right? But there's all kinds of other people that are music producers. There's the record companies. Then you got the, like in the old days, the record stores. Now it's different. It's like they're doing it through the digital stuff, but they're getting their cut, like on the Apple iTunes and shit, right? So Apple's making shitloads of money off of these artists, right? People don't like think about that. Okay, and so in order to make money, you got to sell the product. Okay, so that's why they build up a brand and they expose it to the world, because it's not just this family that's making money. There's all kinds of other people. There's all of the reporters that write stories. There's the people that write books. Like, how many books have been written about the Jacksons and then Motown? There's so much stuff out there. You know, it's all of those people. It's all the reporters that write the stories, and it's the way they report on the stories, and the way it's just like, there's massive amounts of people making money off of when you get a big brand like this, the Jacksons. It's a big, established, well-known brand, but it's not just the Jacksons making money off of that. There's all kinds of other people, and that's why the way in which they're talked about and how they do things, that's how they do things. That's how they work, and it's in order to keep the public interested so that they'll buy the product, and as long as they're buying the product, then that opens up the door financially for all these other people to be making money off of that stuff. That people just don't understand that's business. That's the world of which is going on. All this stuff is going on like that, right? So like I was saying, the one person was talking about the Joe Jackson with the vitiligo, so then I told him, it's like, it's like, first of all, I responded back. I said, you don't even respect me or respect my story to first of all think that, oh, I gotta, it's like, in your question, what's your question? If you ask me something, it's like, okay, well, prove it. Just because you asked me a question, you said Joe Jackson had vitiligo. And it's like, okay, well, I don't know that story. So, and I've looked into it. It's like, I've looked into Joe Jackson stuff. I don't know that. And it's like, I've done a lot of research. And to me, I've heard people say the thing about, they were saying Joe Jackson's father, that ended up being Louis Armstrong, the trumpet player. They were saying that was Michael's grandfather, and they're saying, look at Michael. So I've made a video about that because people have actually put forth an evidence, and I came through and I said, no, that's not Michael Jackson's grandfather. That's Louis Armstrong, the famous trumpet player. He's a singer guy. I said, that's Louis Armstrong, proven that. So that's debunked. So I debunked that thing. So that's what I sent the person the link to that video. It's like, because I don't know what they're talking about. It's like, well, are you talking about this? Somebody just asked me a question, and then the person came back to me and said, you said we can ask you any questions, and the person said Joe had vitiligo, and I think Janet did too. And it's like, okay, well, show me some proof. At least the people, if you show me the Prince Michael Jackson, you can show me videos of him where it looks like he appears to have vitiligo. So that's a legitimate argument. Like, so when somebody says to me, well, Prince has vitiligo, doesn't that mean that he's Michael's son? And it's like, no, not necessarily. But I appreciate that if somebody makes that comment and they say, well, I understand that appears to be really solid evidence, okay? But I think that Dr. Klein is Prince Jackson's father, okay? So Dr. Klein is a dermatologist, okay? So that's a skin doctor. So there's one of those things. It's like, I don't know Dr. Klein's entire history. It's harder to find that stuff, right? But just look at the facts. Dr. Klein is a dermatologist, a skin doctor. Okay, so, and then Michael and Dr. Klein became really good friends up until the point where Michael marries Dr. Klein's nurse, Debbie Rowe. Debbie Rowe worked for Dr. Klein. Okay, so that's like how close we are on the personal relationship between Michael Jackson and Dr. Klein. They had a really, and when you go into it more, it's like Dr. Klein is like on the board of the AIDS Foundation, the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation. There's a lot more there going on. I've looked into that stuff. There's a lot there. It's hard to talk about all of it, okay? But, so, if somebody wants to put forth the evidence that says, well, Prince Jackson has vitiligo, it's like, okay, I totally agree that appears to be very solid evidence. But it appears to be that Dr. Klein is Prince's real father. And when you actually look at the closeness, okay, well, Prince's mother works for Dr. Klein. Now, that's evidence. You can't just disregard that. Dr. Klein is a skin doctor. Okay, like one of the things I know is like, you know, these people put Botox in their face and stuff. Okay, Dr. Klein is the person who invented that procedure. Like, there's things that I do know about Dr. Klein. That he's not just a dermatologist, he's a world-renowned dermatologist, and he's famous. And like I said, he's up until the point where he invented the use for Botox, putting that into people. He invented that. Dr. Klein invented that, right? So he's a known guy. Okay, so we know that Michael and Dr. Klein have a very serious, and there's much more, because I heard Dr. Klein talking about rebuilding Michael Jackson's nose, like things that he was doing. I heard Dr. Klein saying that he was helping Michael get off of like hard drugs, because Michael was addicted to drugs. And like Demerol and stuff like that. There's stuff where, and then Dr. Klein was like giving him other drugs to wean him off of that drugs. He was trying to control his drug addiction too. Like, there's serious connections between Dr. Klein and Michael Jackson. Serious connections, right? So if Michael Jackson is going to fake being the father of his child and he needs a sperm donation, well, Dr. Klein is like, when you want to talk about to somebody that's as close to Michael as could be in a relationship, and he's Debbie Rowe works for Dr. Klein. So isn't it feasible that maybe Dr. Klein either faked, somehow he snuck his sperm in there, or maybe that Michael did ask him for his sperm, because he is a smart doctor guy. Maybe Michael wanted his kid to be the child of a doctor. It's not beyond the reason. It's definitely within reason. But the other thing is, like, how do we not know that maybe Dr. Klein had vitiligo? Or maybe there's vitiligo in his family, because he became a skin doctor. So in his career, when he went to look for a career, he went to a career of being a skin doctor. That's like documented and shit, right? But I don't know, and how do we not know that Michael and Dr. Klein's relationship isn't so close? Because Dr. Klein had vitiligo. See, because you have to have common interests. There's got to be a common similarity, something that allows these people to gain the trust of another one, right? Just being the doctor is not enough. Dr. Klein had all these other things, because Michael and Dr. Klein had a real serious relationship up until the point where Michael marries his freaking nurse, Debbie Rowe, and has the children. I mean, there's a real stuff going on. So it's like, yeah, I understand that just the image of Prince looking like he's got vitiligo, I totally understand that appears to be really solid concrete evidence. But it's not when you actually look at the connection between Michael and Dr. Klein, who does appear to be Prince's actual father, and he's a skin doctor. And so it's like, but now can I just go find that information? Like, okay, does Dr. Klein have vitiligo? Well, you go find the evidence in that. You go find the proof. You go find that, and if you show it to me, then I'll listen to it. But I'm going to tell you, that's not shit that's super easy to find. Okay, it's not really easy to find, but I say that there's probably a really good chance that either Dr. Klein's got vitiligo or there's vitiligo in his family. Because actually, when you look at his skin too, he's got like his skin is kind of tricky. It's like, there's like these white people that have this weird white skin where it's like kind of like tricky, like vitiligo stuff is on there. It's like different stuff. So Dr. Klein kind of looks like he's got a little bit of that different kind of white skin, not like the really nice clean. He's got a different. So I don't know exactly what's going on, but I wouldn't doubt that there's something like that, right? So So that's the thing with the print stuff. But when this person gave me a comment saying Joe's got vitiligo and they think that Janet had it too, okay? So they give me that comment, right? And it's just like, okay, out of all of my work and all the stuff, and you're gonna ask a question, and that's the question that you're gonna, oh, you know, it's funny. Did you hear the bloop just came up? Because a comment came up. So I post, there's a football player, Cam Newton, and so they had a video the other day of Cam Newton. It said he meets fans. He meets fans when he's going to work out, right? So like I'll watch once in a while. I watch them. So I put on that video. It was only 5 minutes. So I was going to watch that video, and then when I went to watch the video, when he went to work out on this field, this field, there's all these other people working out there. One of the people there is Odell Beckham Jr. Okay, so Odell Beckham Jr. is a football player. He's a wide receiver, but Odell Beckham Jr. has a tattoo of Michael Jackson on him. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. There's these weird connections of things that go on and stuff, right? And so I can read it. So I posted a comment, because I don't post many comments on people's pages either like that either. So this was on Cam Newton's page, and I posted it so Cam Newton was there, then Odell Beckham Jr. was there, and it's like, well, shoot, I know Odell Beckham Jr. is a big Michael Jackson fan, up to the point where I know he's got a tattoo of Michael Jackson on him. Like, you know, he's a big fan. So this is the comment. So this is the thing that somebody liked my comment. So I put on Cam Newton's page, I put a comment. I said, Cam, tell OBJ, that's Odell Beckham Jr. I said, Cam, tell OBJ I can prove that Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's real mother. And then somebody just liked my comment, and that's what you just heard, that came up saying somebody liked my comment. So I'll just mention that, because it is related to what we're talking about here and stuff, right? But it's like I'm not trying not to talk to people. I try to get exposure, but it's like, look, I'm not on Instagram. I can't send direct messages. I send Michael Trapson, I've sent him well over 100 emails. I email him and shit, right? Like, Michael Trapson knows my real name. Michael Trapson's got my phone number and shit, right? And I constantly just say, just call me. Just let him call me. I'll talk to you for 10 minutes. Let me explain this shit to you. Really, just let me explain Billie Jean. Because that's like the easiest thing for me to explain. That's like the biggest thing that encompasses all of it, and it's the Billie Jean song. It's like, so Michael Trapson, being the person he is, he's not interested in what the song Billie Jean's actually about, because he's got his stupid video, Billie Jean and I dab. Oh, isn't that funny? Cam Newton's the guy that like made the dab. That's Cam Newton. Like I said, that comment just came up. It's Cam Newton. He's the one that would dab all the time when he would score a touchdown and he would dab. See, and then Michael Trapson's got the song Billie Jean and I dab. Okay, and it's funny because the Cam Newton comment just came up. He's the one who does the dab, who made that famous. So I'm saying there's weird shit that happens. Like, this shit's going on all the time. And I'm saying there's so much shit going on in my mind. It's weird shit, and it's connected. It's like, that's fucking hilarious that I just realized that Cam Newton's the one that does the dab, and Michael Trapson's the one that makes the song Billie Jean and I dab. That shit is freaking, it's crazy, right? And so, like, see how I'm talking about all this shit, and it's like, I can just go on and on. It's like, it's very hard for me to make a video and make it short and sweet, and I don't have time to edit and do it all pretty. I've got way too much stuff to talk about, and that's what I'm saying. I've hit a wall where I can't even do any more investigation. Unless there's something really specific that I need to do or I need to counter, I just can't do anymore, because it's just causing, I got too much shit going on. It's causing problems. Like I said, my dad's at the severe extreme stages of Alzheimer's. So it's like, okay, when I wake up, take care of my first little thing, I need to wake up. I have to be awake, because like when I go over and get my dad up, he's gonna be like attacking me. I don't know what I'm going to have to experience, but usually by the time I get him up, I take him to the bathroom, and I would always put him in the shower, and I've just got to the point now where it's like, okay, he's not stepping in, because he has to step into the tub. It's a tub with a shower, and a tub. So he's at the point now where he's not stepping in there, and it's just too dangerous. So it's like, this just happened within the last, it's been happening, but it just got really bad where it's like, okay, I think I'm giving up on that. So I'm having to figure out how I'm gonna, and it's like, my shower in my room, I have a separate shower, and it's got a little seat in there, right? But it's not like I just bring my dad over and sit him down, and he sits down and he's all nice. It's not like that. He's fighting and he's freaking out and doing all kinds of stuff. So it's like, okay. And then the problem is, like my house is a split. It's a split floor plan where so the bedrooms are on one side, then the living room's in the middle, and then my bedroom's on the other side of the house. So like I used to always bring my dad over to my bedroom during the daytime, and so we'd walk back and forth. I'd walk him back to his bathroom on the other side of the house. You know, he wouldn't use my bathroom because he has his own bathroom. I keep it like that, but by his bedroom and he has his own bathroom. So, but there's this being the split, you got to walk through the living room. So just like over the last month, I couldn't get him to walk over to my room because he fights so much, and he's constantly resisting and he's pulling away from me, so it's dangerous. And it's like I'm worried that not only is it physically straining on me, but it's also dangerous for him to be pulling away like that, because if he gets away from me just one time, wham, he's gonna fucking hit the ground. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to hurt himself. He's trying to jump on the ground. So it's like, it's difficult. It's extremely difficult. So I finally have had to be like, okay, I got to keep him over in his room now. So it's a shorter trip from his room to the bathroom. It's just and then like this, like I have to make adjustments. So like when I have to spin him around, because okay, so I take him to the bathroom, and so I got to pull his pants down, and then I got to spin him around and sit him on the toilet, right? Because that's like the whole thing with him. It's like, if he pees on himself, that's not a big deal. I mean, I deal with that shit that's not a big deal. Okay, but if he poops on himself, now I got a fucking problem. And if he poops on himself in his room, and if I'm trying to take him to the bathroom, and if the poop's falling out and he steps on it and he's making the mess, I mean, it can turn into big fucking messes and shit, right? All kinds. So I'm always like every hour I got to put him on the toilet, and then just at night you pray that he doesn't poop himself at night and then have this problem. And usually that doesn't happen. I usually make things usually work out okay. And even when it goes really, really bad, because I was making burritos, so there's like the kind of food that I feed him. I was giving him burritos. I give him different foods and stuff because he doesn't have teeth, so he's got to be able to eat. But then he also resists. When I feed him, it takes a long time, and he resists, and it's fucking difficult so I was giving him these burritos for a few days, and my dad's got a weird, like, his system is weird. It's where, like, he won't poop for 3 days, and then he'll go poop real big, right? So that's, like, the kind of shit and so I don't know, it's like, okay, is poop coming today? And then, so I don't know how it's going. So then, this just happened recently, and I made the burritos, and then it was because I made these good burritos and shit with beans and rice and on the hamburger board. I think the beans in there and stuff, it's tricky shit. I try and feed him good, right? But then it's like, and I try not to worry about when he's going to poop or what it's going to, but then the burrito thing, oh man, he freaking exploded with poop. And I can't believe like what he did, and the actual damage of what it was really wasn't that bad. It was pretty easy to clean up. Things were not that bad, but I'm talking about explosions, 3 explosions in like one day. Within a few hours of stuff, he's exploding like poop, right? So I mean, that's just the real world. This is the shit I got to deal with. And I got people trying to tell me to do all this stuff. It's like, dude, you have no idea what I deal with just on a day-to-day basis and shit, right? So luckily the burrito stuff, he had explosions and stuff and made some mess, but it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that bad. And if it has to, I've got a carpet cleaner. I can clean up all the shit. I got a wand. I can wipe the stuff down, whatever. If things aren't that bad. I dealt with it enough. It's not that bad. But so then I got make adjustments and stuff. I'm always making it's still at that time too. He would be wearing socks. So like I said, I would put socks on his feet, because if I don't put socks on his feet, when I have to spin him around to put him on the toilet, his feet will stick. I have tile floor, so his feet would stick to the tile floor, and it's resistance, and he's fighting back, and it's dangerous, right? So what I would do is I'd put socks, and then when I get him to that point, I pull his pants down and I spin him around with the socks. It was really easy. But then what happened, he's having a hard time walking, and so then it's like he was having a really hard time walking. So like I said, he was giving me big fucking problems getting him. I couldn't bring him across the house anymore because he's having problems walking. So then I realized, you know what? I need to put his shoes back on. Let me put his shoes back on. So like I said, I'm constantly having to try and figure out how to make it better and make adjustments. And so like I said, let me put his shoes back on, and that's been helping. So now when he's got his shoes on and I lift him up, and he starts to walk, and then he starts to walk a little better with his shoes on. But he's still fighting, but it's a little bit better. But now, like when I get to the bathroom thing, he's got shoes on, so I can't just spin him, and he's pulling away. So it's like, it's one of these things, it's like, okay, it fixes one problem, and he walks better with the shoes, but now when I go to the bathroom and I have to spin him around, now he's digging in, he's got shoes on, he's digging in and pulling, and it's like he keeps pulling away from me, and it's like, it's hard. There's just all these difficult things of what I have to fucking deal with. It's fucking hard and shit, right? So, you know, then like the person asked me the question about well, Joe, I thought you could answer any question. I thought Joe had it, and I thought Janet had it. It's like, show me for fucking proof. Oh, so you're going to tell me in the situation of the world of which I live and of all this stuff I'm dealing with, now I've got to go investigate your assumption that the vitiligo runs in the Jackson family? Show me some fucking proof, because I don't know of any real proof about that. Show me some fucking proof. You make a video and you with alleged proof in there, okay, well that makes it a lot easier, because now I can just deal with your alleged evidence. Now I can do that and I can put a video together. But no, what, you think I got to go do an entire fucking investigation? Oh, and I'm the asshole because I didn't go investigate your assumption that Janet's got vitiligo. I've got to do that whole fucking investigation. It's ridiculous. That's how people are. So I'm sure, so I fucking blocked that person. It's like, fuck you, dude. If you don't understand fucking what I'm having to deal with and all this stuff, you got no respect, and you can't even ask an actual real question. You got to do something based off. You can't deal with all of the work that I've done. You just disregard that, and your big question is, I thought Janet had vitiligo, right? It's ridiculous. So here, let me get into this video. I pulled a couple things here for you, and let me just show you a couple real quick. Like I said, I don't have the time to pull this stuff together because I've got too much evidence. So I just want to show you a couple basic little things here. So here, let's watch this real quick.
Both were able to carve musical legacies that were very much independent of each other, despite constant comparisons.
Despite constant comparisons, right? Despite constant comparisons. That's what they did to you. They freaking, so like people say, oh, they look alike. Oh, well, they're constantly comparing them to each other. And look at how they do their hair and their makeup. And Janet's got a nose job. You know, Michael got a nose job. Janet got a nose job. We don't know about all the surgeries of what Janet does to make herself look like Michael. We don't know about all that stuff. They appeared to be, they're cute. And it's like, that's the reason why the people think that they're, because they're the Jacksons, and then Janet was cute and Michael was the better looking one, so that's why they instantly compared them to each other, right? I mean, that's really what took place and stuff. But okay, so despite the constant comparisons, well, let's look at the things that they're not similar. Can Janet Jackson write songs like Michael? Absolutely not. There's only one song. When you look at Janet's whole list of all the hits and all the records, she doesn't write any of the stuff. The one song that gives her credit as writing is Black Cat. And then when you look at it though, you see that the guy that's the guitar player on Black Cat, that he worked for the other guys that write all of the songs. You find out that there's a relationship there, and you can clearly see, like, I have no, like, people say you can't slander people. I guarantee you that Janet Jackson bought that song from the guy. The other guy actually wrote the song. Janet Jackson bought it from him, and she put her name as being the songwriter. I guarantee you Janet Jackson did not write that song, because she is not a songwriter. If she was capable of writing that song, she would have wrote other songs, but they're not there. Go look at, I've made videos about this stuff. You go look at all of her albums. It's the other guy, the Rodney Jerkins or whoever it is, those guys. They wrote all of her songs. They made all the music. She's just like a Britney Spears. There's no difference. People, like, when you want to see that, okay, Britney Spears ain't writing her songs. She ain't making the music. She's just a pop star. But she's a big pop star. I agree with that. She's a pop star. They make it look like she can sing. She really can't sing. She's not like a real singer. Not like, it's like Jennifer Hudson. Oh, Jennifer Hudson, that bitch can fucking sing. You know, like the Whitney Houstons, you know, Mariah Carey was writing her songs. Like her first album, she wrote all her songs. And it says right there, it's clear. Yeah, she wrote all her songs. Look at it. It's all of them. It wasn't like that with Janet. Janet's not writing her songs. She's not making the music. She's a pop star like a Britney Spears. It's a manufactured bubblegum pop star. It's a manufactured product. That she's not it. But Michael, yeah, he writes a lot of his songs. And even though he doesn't make the music, like, there's a thing in that Oprah interview where it shows him, like, beatboxing and shit. He's making the music. He doesn't play the instrument, But he can actually make the music. He's like going, pow, oh, doing all this weird shit. It's like, dude, he actually makes the music. It's in him. And he writes the songs. He is world-class dancer. Like the Fred Astaire looks at Michael and says, dude, you're a world-class dancer. No world-class dancer. Janet is on a hip-hop level. You can call her a world-class dancer on a hip-hop level. It's a totally different thing. She's not a real dancer. She's a hip-hop dancer. It's a different it's a whole different category. She does not belong in the same category as how you talk about Michael Jackson. It's totally different. She's not a real dancer like Michael. Michael's world-class dancer. Michael's a world-class vocalist. Janet's not. Any family out there could sing like the Jacksons. If any family was out there and you're being trained how to sing and all this stuff and being worked and stuff, you can sing a little bit. Everybody can sing a little bit. You can be trained to learn how to sing. So that's what the Jacksons are. They can fake it to the people who don't know, but the real people who really know all know. Oh, well, no, none of them can sing. They're not singers. They're not dancers. They're not songwriters. They're not artists. They're pop stars. They're bubblegum pop star it's a manufactured product. It's not the fucking same thing. It's like the difference between like, you go get a watermelon, right? Okay, well they can make watermelon bubblegum. It's not made out of watermelon. There's no watermelon in a watermelon bubblegum. It's a made up product that you taste it and it's like, damn, this sure tastes just like watermelon. Yeah, but it doesn't have any watermelon in it. It's not watermelon. It's the difference. People just don't understand the difference and shit, right? And they come yell at me because they don't understand the difference. Janet's a bubblegum pop star, manufactured product. Michael Jackson's a genuine artist. And he even goes where he draws and shit, right? He's got real serious artistic ability. And so they're not the same. They're not the fucking same. And it's like, people, you want to say like, oh, they look alike. Well, you've been told your whole life and you've been shown pictures like this where it's made perfectly and they do it all, the makeup and the hair the same, and they try and get you to think they look alike. If you go it's like you go look at like 100 Chinese people. You take a group of 100 Chinese people that are around the same age, and then you take the father of one of them, and you put the father over to the side, and so nobody would know any of his kids, not like they're the Jacksons. So you take the father, and you take his kid, and you put him in a group of 100 people, and you go tell the public, okay, now, here's the father, now go tell me who his kid is in the group. Do you really think you're going to be capable of finding his child? There's going to be extremely small percentages of people who pick that fucking kid out of there, because you can't really do that because you haven't been raised your whole life to say that this is his kid. No, now I see it. Yeah, well, that's how you saw it for the whole time. That's how they showed it to you. It's a product. The Jacksons, they packaged it like that. So when you saw it like that for all of those years, the Jacksons product and stuff, of course they look like of course they look alike. That's what they did. That's what they did. They sold that product to you. That's Hollywood movie magic. That's what they do. So everybody trying to say, like I said right here, that in this detail, is despite about the constant similarities or whatever, it's like, well, dude, yeah, because that's all you talk about. The similarities, because they want you to think that Janet's like Michael, so that all these other people that are making money off of Janet Jackson can make money. That's why they did it. It's just ridiculous.
Like many blood relatives.
Right there, like many blood relatives. That's the propaganda of what they've always sold you. The Jacksons, they're blood relatives. Let's look at the similarities between them. And they package it and stuff. So like right there when he calls them blood relatives. Okay, that's wrong. They're not blood relatives. That's the whole thing that's... Now, let me show you some other evidence and stuff, right? So, this is the Jacksons in American Dream when they're going to be coming up with Michael's name, right? And so, first let me show you the little part here really quick, that what Joe says right here.
It's been 4 months, man. 4 months since I've been laid off. This is not the way I planned it, little thing. This was not the plan.
Not the plan. 4 months. Now, the words of what he's saying here in the movie, it's always tricky, but okay, now, but there's truth. Joe Jackson is supposed to have been laid off like 4 months before Michael's born. There's something there that did occur. But now, let's look at the timing. Now, he says he's laid off. But do any of you people have actual hardcore evidence? Now in the movie they say it, but that's not evidence. You can't go into court and say just because they say it. You need real evidence. You need corresponding documents. Was he actually laid off for the steel mill, or did he come up, is the plan, because he says this isn't the plan, because the plan is to start a band and go to Hollywood, right? Okay, well, his plan obviously didn't work because he went to work at the steel mill and he didn't become a star. But in reality, what happens right at this time, Joe rebuilds his band, and that's what you'll see in the movie. If you watch, then he builds his band and he goes back on the road with the Falcons. Okay, that's what the movie says actually happened, right? Right at the time that Michael is born. But now let's look at my story, the corresponding evidence. Now, if Joe Jackson and Berry Gordy made a deal for Jacksons to take ownership and take possession over the Diana Ross's and Smokey Robinson's kid, wouldn't you think that that's probably about 4 months before Michael's born? That's probably about when they made that deal, because that's when Diana's like getting pregnant now. They're making the plans that they're actually setting it up. Okay, we're gonna get rid of that kid. Well, we got to find a place to get rid of him. Wouldn't you think it probably around that time, like 4 months before Michael's born, at some point up until that point, that's where they make the deal with Joseph that, okay, you're gonna take this kid. So at that time when they make the plan that Joe's gonna take the kid, now Joe's got a direct connection to Berry Gordy, who's starting his record company. Like, this is real life stuff. That's at the exact time when Motown is being developed. So 4 months before comes into the house of the Jackson household, Joe, the story they say is that he got laid off at the steel mill. Now, did he get laid off? Or did he come up with a new deal that he got from Berry Gordy, where now he's got a connection to Berry Gordy, and Berry Gordy's going to be financially helping out the Jacksons, right? He doesn't say, here, take this kid and I'm not going to give you any money. He's obviously going to give him some money. So now, Joe, when you get Michael in the house, he's made that deal with Berry Gordy. Now, like I'm saying, think about the reality. That would be the time when Joe makes the deal with Berry Gordy. What happens in the real world at that time? Joe stops working at the steel mill. Now, he says he's laid off, but is he laid off? Does he? And that's another thing. Did Joe ever go back to work at the steel mill after this event occurred? I don't know. The story of what they say, they never really talk about it again. Now, so did he get laid off, or did he quit the steel mill because he's got now a new gig of taking care of this kid and he's going to get some money from that, but he's also got the dreams of being a star, and now he's directly connected to Berry Gordy, and now he's like, well, this is my last shot. I'm going to go for it, right? What actually makes more sense? That he got laid off at the steel mill and then just decides, okay, I'm going to go ahead and make my band again. When he's got all the kids in the house, you're going to tell me Joe's not working, and for some reason he decides, oh, this is my chance now to build my band back together. That's what happened in the real world. Right at this time in history, Joe stops working at the steel mill, and Joe does not form the child band at this time. Which, if Joe was what they call a stage father, if Joe was a stage father, a true stage father, he would have already understood that his career and his chances and opportunities of being a star would have passed. It had already passed him by, right? That's the real world. It had passed him by. But that's not what happens. And Joe then would have started, if he was a real stage father, he would have been training his children all of that time and stuff. But that's not what happened. It's at this time when Michael is about to come into the house, Joe stops working at the steel mill, and Joe reforms his band, the Falcons. Joe tries to become a star. Why is Joe trying to become a star at that time? Well, my story says he just got this new connection with Berry Gordy, and he's getting some financial incentives for taking care of the kid. My story matches up much better to the actual true events that are occurring here. Their story does not hold up. Now, it's right after this part is when they start talking about naming of the child. See, I didn't edit that. This is the movie, right? We're playing, this is the actual part. That's why I'm showing you how close it is to the time of Michael's birth. Now this can't be true. We're gonna, okay.
You two having babies. It's so fast. We're about to run out of names.
Okay, now, This is the actual story of what Katherine tells you about how Michael's name was given to him, right? That she's there with her mother, and the mother starts like trying to name the kid, right? And they were going to name him Ronald and shit, right? This is actually officially what Katherine states. Now, is it possible that Katherine and Joseph had not discussed the name of their child until the baby's actually born? They're not even discussing, like, because it's like, you could say, oh, well, they don't know if it's going to be a boy or girl. Okay, well, that's why they have discussions about that. Okay, if it's a boy, we're going to name him this, or if it's a girl, we're going to name him this. And there's reasons to why the parents name their children's, the names, they mean stuff to them. And I'm going to show you a little bit more of that because I'm going to show you all of the Jackson's kids' names. But so, this is them naming the kid.
Oh, how about Ronald?
Oh, Mama, no, not Ronald.
Donald?
Mama, no, I don't want Donald.
Well, how about Michael?
Okay, so they're telling you that Joe Jackson, who we know is the stern father figure, right? Joe's a tough guy, right? They're telling you that Joe Jackson had no participation in the naming of his child. None. There was no discussions that took place with him and Katherine prior to this event. The baby's born. And now, where's Joe? You're going to tell me that Katherine would allow the baby's name to be created without the presence of Joe Jackson? Is that even, like, when you actually think about it, that's not possible. There's no way possible that Katherine and Joseph had not had discussions about if that's her baby, right? There's no way possible that this could have happened like this. But this is the actual official story of what Katherine says, that this is how Michael got his name and stuff, right? Now here, watch a little more.
It's better. Michael. Look at me. Michael Joe Jackson.
Okay, so Michael Joe Jackson. So they're saying, Katherine, just name the kid. Oh, and Joe's not around, so let me just put the name Joe. Now, this is Michael. This is what Michael's like supposed to be like the seventh kid and shit, right? So this is the Jacksons' kids. Okay, so that's the names of the Jackson children. Okay, so starting at the top, it's Maureen Rillette Reby Jackson. Okay, so look at the name there, Maureen Rillette. That sounds like a name that was thought of. You didn't just come up with that name. Okay, so there's Joe's first child, but then you get the first boy, where if Joseph's name was going to appear, if that was of any significance, of any importance to Joseph, right? If Joe, or if Katherine wanted to like commemorate Joe Jackson, and by putting his name, if she wanted to urge Joseph to put his name on one of the children, you would think it would happen within the first kid, if not soon after that. It wouldn't be like it would go all the way down to Michael before that happens. But the reason it doesn't happen is because Joseph, he obviously did not want it to happen. And if he didn't want it to happen, you could damn sure understand that him and Katherine would have had conversations about that. When they're coming up with these names, these are not just common names. These are names that they would have talked about, and they would have had explanations and meaning behind them. But you don't see Joe's name on his children, which I think that's evidence showing that it was not important to Joe. It was not important. But when Michael gets the name Joe, which is Joseph, is the middle name, because she says Joe there, and that's the thing where like the Pearl Jr. says, see, that's evidence that there's Michael's real name's Joe, his middle name's Joe, it's not Joseph. It's like, so what? Doesn't even matter to me. It's Joe, and it is officially it's supposed to be Joseph. Okay, but now let's look at the reality that wasn't their baby. They weren't sitting in the room thinking about naming that kid. They're thinking about, we're going to take ownership of this kid. Okay, what are we going to do? What are we going to do with this money? What's my new plans? I'm going to start a band. I have this connection to Barry Gordy. That's what they're talking about. Because they're not going to be there giving birth to this kid, so they're not actually thinking about the kid's name, right? But I think that Diana said, I want the kid's name to be Michael. for Michael the Archangel. I think it's for Michael the Archangel is what I think it's related to, but it also could be a connection to Michelangelo and shit. Because Michael's a fan of Michelangelo, but that comes from Diana Ross. My battery's getting low on this thing, so I got to hurry up now because I probably only got another minute and stuff to go. But so, you look at all the names, so you look at the top names there's no Joseph, but really the Tito, his name is Toriano Adderall, and I've heard Tito say that his names came from a boxer, that Joe named him after an old boxer. It's one of these things about the origins of these names. They mean something to these people, but Joe's name being there was not. So the fact that Michael's name has Joseph shows more of the explanation of the story of what I'm telling, that was not their kid. And then the name kind of just developed as a cover-up. Oh, well, let's put Joseph's name to link him. Since he's not our baby, let's put Joseph's name so we can get it on the birth certificate, Joseph Jackson. That'll help with the cover-up. My explanation explains that much more. And then you go down to Janet Demita Joe. It's like, okay, well, did they do that because they were feeling guilty that Michael got Joseph and they felt like they needed to cover up that, so they needed to add in a Joe on Janet's name? You know, so like those things. I could go into this more, but like I said, my battery's getting low and stuff. But so then the next kid they have there really quick is the Giovanni. That's the love child. That's the bastard child from Joe. And see, that's what do they do with that kid? So the kid that's not it's not Catherine's, not the mother, that kid's got Joe's name in it, because that's what you would do. You would put Joe's name to honor him. But Joe's names didn't appear on any of those other kids, because with Katherine, the real mother, it was not important. She knew Joe. They had conversations about the children's name. That's why you don't see Joseph's name. But on the child of which I'm saying they need to help cover up that that's not their real child, they put Joseph in there. Okay? So I'm going to go now. That's enough for now. We'll talk to you later. Bye.